Do you have any top kind of processes and rituals that you found the most effective around keeping those projects on track?
Yeah, I think setting tolerances is absolutely key, but tailoring tolerances as well. Understanding every project is different, every client is different, every product is different. The variables, will change depending on the client. Sometimes time is by far the biggest factor, sometimes cost. One of the biggest issues that I've found in any organisation are grey areas. Where there are grey areas, naturally just people fall into them. And people are unsure, is this my responsibility? Is it their responsibility?
Yeah.
So, really identifying that and clarifying that at the top of any project, I think is absolutely key.
What is the most unexpected thing that's happened that's helped a project succeed? Welcome back to the third episode in the Sonin podcast. Today we are going to talk a little bit about how great ops fuels great products, because as you know, we're all about building the right product, ones that deliver value, ones that meet user needs as well as business objectives, and allegedly operations and doing the work has something to do with that. I've got my colleague James McConville with me today. Welcome, James. Rather than me introducing you, would you like to give us your lowdown?
Well, my name is James. I'm the head of operations here at Sonin. I've been here for about a year, and happy to be here and have a chat about operations today.
We're going to talk a little bit about things like what goes into making delivery smooth, scalable, completely stress-free. Never been anybody in ops that has been stressed. And then we'll run through some of the details, top tips, all that type of thing. So I guess a pretty good place to start probably would be talking about what great ops actually is, what it means, particularly in the context of product development.
Yeah, so I always see ops as basically trying to move away from chaos. I think if you don't have good systems and processes, organizations and systems will move towards chaos. So that's the first thing that we're trying to achieve, a bit of order. But ultimately, I think in an agency, in somewhere like Sonin, you're trying to create this space for all the talent we have to breathe and to be able to contribute as effectively as possible. And, we've got some fantastic people from, design, development, product, quality assurance, and, with good processes and good communication, hopefully we can give them the opportunity to be as effective as possible, basically.
I'm impressed you were a good couple of minutes in, and you had the opportunity to talk about Jarrett and you've passed it up. So
I'm sure I'll have an opportunity later in the conversation.
Wicked. Okay, that sounds cool. So I guess a big part of building the right product is being adaptable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I guess software is inherently, although we obviously we talk about discovery and building as much understanding and getting to the bottom of the context of use and everything else as much as we can at the start, but it's inherently a learning process.
Yeah.
Right. In the world of operations, how do you go about trying to create and balance that flexibility that you need for those learnings and adaptions with the structure to deliver large projects over periods of time?
Yeah, well, I think tools can help. As you're well aware, we've rolled out Jira recently, which has been, very helpful in terms of, allowing us to have that structure and flexibility and deliver in an agency environment, more effectively. But the people, really, I think the people are absolutely key. Having the right people who have, the entrepreneurial mindset, a problem-solving mindset, who want to, who are committed really to continuous improvement and adaptable. I think that's really, really key as well. So a combination of the right tools, processes, but very much the people there as well.
Yeah. I think it's often missed that, isn't it? And we talk about how, obviously we talk about build the right product, which anybody that's ever come into contact with us will be bored of hearing. But so much of that is around understanding and getting people that care about the end results.
Yeah.
And to use our last core value, always thinking. So it is all very people pieces as much as this process. As you say, that's a core part of it. Yeah, one of the things that can happen quite a lot along the journey is that you'll see learnings, you'll see new requirements coming out. Quite typically, we'll do a lot of stakeholder engagement at the start, but more stakeholders come in, and more stakeholders mean more ideas more often than not. So have you got any good real world examples of how you go about navigating scope change, dealing with maybe unexpected blockers, corporate environment, things can come up, and then any kind of team challenges as well?
Yeah, I think the key thing is to be fully aware that change is going to happen, and be prepared for it. You have to factor that into project planning, and we have to factor it in across the whole of the operation. The change is going to happen. What we can do to best manage that change, as I said, is a combination of having the right processes in place, having correct feedback loops in place. For example, we've rolled out recently, processes utilizing Jira, where we are ensuring that there is alignment at the top of projects as clear as possible. Clients have clear visibility of the scope. We benchmark it, and then we are allowed to sort of move forward on that basis. And it allows us to move forward with confidence. But then when the changes come in, we then have a process for review to analyze those changes to see where they'll fit into the current sprint or potentially into the backlog. But again, always maintaining that client alignment so that they have that clear visibility of what's happening with regard to that change, and feeding back into its suitability. So to see, I think communication and clarity.
I think we may have even said in the last one, there's never a shortage of ideas, right? There's always new opportunities, and it's about which ones are right. So just things like alignment, North Star metrics that we can that we look at, where you're going, what it means, and getting everyone around it helps you prioritize and choose accordingly, so that as all of this opportunity appears, then you can help guide around why it is that you're doing it, or whether that's the right thing to do, and why you should be doing that or shouldn't be doing that.
Absolutely.
With all this potential for change and movement, and then the importance of the right individuals and everything else in the team, I guess one of the big things that comes up in any software project, and probably there are some great statistics out there that probably I should know off the cuff, around the number of projects that come into trouble due to communication and everything else from humans. How do you go about trying to create that alignment across functions? Because when we deploy teams, we deploy people across, account management, project management, strategy, design, development, QA, and probably somebody that's offended that I've missed out somewhere.
Project management.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So how do you go about creating alignment across those functions to make sure that everyone's on the same page?
Yeah, I think the first thing to consider is having a really, really solid comms plan.
Yeah.
I think I think a lot of people have been in meetings. We can all say that experiences where we've been in meetings. Why am I here? And ensuring that the right people are in the right meetings at the right times. Often, we need our developers developing, we need our designers designing. And so really understanding who should be, attending the correct meetings, understanding sort of the frequency of communication, the channels of communication, setting that up at the top of any project, I think is absolutely key to create that alignment. Making sure that, the milestones have been set. Everybody has clarity around, those milestones, and also people know their roles and responsibilities. I think, one of the biggest issues that I've found in any organization are grey areas. Where there are grey areas, naturally just people fall into them, and people are unsure, is this my responsibility? Is it their responsibility?
Yeah.
So, really identifying that and clarifying that at the top of any project, I think is absolutely key to make sure that, you stay on track with alignment, basically.
Because I get, a lot of the projects we work on are quite complex and involve, everything has a number of integrations, right? And quite a lot of the time to a bespoke system, maybe a legacy platform inside a client's team. Any top tips for how to make sure that runs smoothly when you've got dependencies on, external parties and with external workloads and everything else?
Yeah, I think detailed risk analysis, identifying where there are going to be potential issues. And again, making sure that you're on top of that, keeping it up to date, creating that transparency so that everybody's aware of, the identified risks, people are feeding back into it, and then, we can workshop solutions and find, the correct solution before those risks become issues, basically.
I guess probably an extension from that, almost like a segue, like someone's written the questions for us. Do you have any top kind of processes and rituals that you found the most effective around keeping those projects on track?
Yeah, I think setting tolerances is absolutely key, but tailoring tolerances as well. I think, understanding every project is different, every client is different, every product is different. And the variables will change depending on the client. Sometimes time is by far the biggest factor, sometimes cost, but understanding the correct tolerances for the correct project, and then having the correct governance as well, ensuring that reporting mechanisms are in place and they're effective, so that if a dev is raising an issue to a PM, it's done in the timely fashion. They know when they should do that. The PM also knows when they should raise it with myself, and when we can start to move to finding a solution. So I think a combination of sort of good governance and having the correct tolerances is absolutely key.
Yeah, because it's quite like it's an interesting thing, the agency environment, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think we've talked about it a few times. And I mean, one of the key things is that to anybody that hasn't been in agencies, the pace of agencies is just yeah, that noise, yeah, is a little bit fast, right? So you got to deliver pace. You got to deliver value at pace, at the same time as hitting all the different kind of key pieces from a corporate point of view, and making sure that you've got right compliance and as you say, risk management and everything else in place. But then there's this extra layer that every client is different, because we want to be very collaborative and we want to be close and integrated to the team as much as we can. You kind of end up in a slightly different place with every single customer potentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a challenge. I think having processes which are flexible, and we're not only iterating on products, we're also iterating on our processes constantly. And feeding back into how we can improve, how we can tailor our systems and processes for a particular client, for a particular project. And I think this again comes back to the people, the mindset, that continuous improvement mindset. We have a very strong operational leadership team here, which its main function is continuous improvement, analysing what we're doing well, analysing where we can improve, how we need to adapt for any particular client or project. And so that coming back to that piece around the right people, and everybody feeding back in, everybody having an opinion and being able to contribute towards making sure that the delivery is as successful as possible, basically.
There's always a risk that in a creative, innovative industry, where you're trying to deliver on ambitious plans, fairly long-term strategic pieces, that you can end up in an overcomplicated delivery mechanism, right?
Absolutely.
And that you can end up stifling some of that ability. So what's the top kind of way that you can, or ways you can talk about ops supporting those ambitious ideas without creating overcomplicated delivery systems?
Well, I think again, it's about communication. It's about having everybody's voice being heard, and about having that culture. I think it's a cultural piece around everybody understanding and being aligned on the delivery of a particular product or project, but understanding that we have a commitment to do it in a streamlined way, and information sharing, ideas sharing around how we achieve that. We'll have multiple workshops for each problem that comes up or any issue that we're facing. Getting people on calls, getting people's opinions from dev to design to project management, to try to resolve those issues and see how we can move forward as effectively as possible. It is a challenge though, but as I said, the idea is that we're striving for perfection. We're not there, no organisation is, but we're always looking to learn from previous projects, through retrospectives and as I said, information sharing, and just constantly improving in terms of our ability to deliver at pace, but also in a really efficient way as well.
The other thing that agencies provide is the ability to scale, move direction probably pretty quickly through flexible resource and everything else. Could you talk to me a little bit about your personal experiences with scaling and evolving the way that operations functions inside Sonin and how that relates to customers?
Yeah, absolutely. I think scaling's and sort of, I suppose you could bring in resilience here as well. I think the first thing to do is to identify what are the blockers to scaling. Coming into Sonin, and as experience I've had in other organizations as well, you can find that potentially there is, a range of tools being used or a range of approaches being used. And I think standardization is absolutely key to be able to achieve scalability and also, maintain resilience as well. We want processes that are repeatable, that are essentially easy to onboard people to, and that, can grow with the business as well, so that we're not having to completely readjust them. So that's been a challenge here, but we are I feel that we're making extremely good headway there, but I think it's a challenge in any organization, really. So I think, that focus on where can we standardize, what are the opportunities to standardize, and what could we bring in, potentially a tool, that we may have spoken about previously.
You really should have worn the t-shirt today.
Yeah, I left my Jira t-shirt at home.
Because it's interesting, isn't it? There is I think in most environments, probably most departments, but maybe ops is the one that gets opened up to it most inside organizations. There's a really kind of standard behavior. We'll buy another SaaS product. Let's just buy another SaaS. It's only, there's a free trial. I'll start using it and I'll share it with a couple of different people. And all of a sudden you have a plethora of tools. And I understand that it's not software that solves the process, right?
Yeah.
I think every organization needs to kind of flip it on its head, which is why we go through the discovery process that we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And where we try and understand all the moving parts and how they should come together, rather than just buying software and starting to try and jam processes into it.
Yeah.
Prioritization.
Yeah, absolutely key.
Yeah. Or prioritization, as I think you said before. Massively important. That's obviously driven from or drives decision making, and any particular frameworks or principles that you particularly love that guide your decision making?
I come from quite a general sort of operational background, and so in a variety of different sectors. Sort of been in software now for 4 years, and I think you can always apply lean principles to sort of any environment. Looking for reduction of waste, if work's being repeated, and there's always an opportunity there, I think, in any organization to improve efficiencies, identifying waste. I also think as well, in terms of flow, always being able to see where there are opportunities to improve the flow of information or the flow, the workflow that's been established, which we've been working very hard recently, here at Sonin to improve and made great strides. So I think those are the two sort of, very general kind of principles that I try to apply, in any role, and have, served me quite well to this point.
Nice. So I think, that's most of what we've got to go through, but obviously we've got producer Greg's favourite quickfire round.
Oh, fantastic.
Which, and I quote, is optional but fun. So I hope you're ready for some optional fun.
Okay.
So very closely aligned to a load of the stuff we've talked about. Your first question is, what is your go-to productivity hack that actually works?
Okay, that's a very good question. This is quickfire, isn't it?
Yeah. This is quickfire, and
I'll try.
We need to run through what quickfire means, because it's not the 25-minute.
So I think anybody coming into an organization, I think it's always take advantage of having that fresh pair of eyes. I think any organization can be doing the same thing for a period of time, and then ultimately you can get into a situation where, I think it's perfect human nature, you can't see the wood for the trees, and you're just that's just the way that things have always happened. And I think so that period of time when you first come in is to really leverage that. Look at the opportunities, as I said, going back to sort of lean principles. Where's the waste? Where are opportunities to improve, flow and communication as well? I've never been anywhere where communication couldn't be, improved at least slightly.
So that's the closest to quickfire I think we've seen. It is interesting though, that kind of, you know, fresh eyes piece, because a lot of the time I think that's what you get when you bring an agency in as well.
Yeah.
And we'll go around and we'll do user interviews to talk to the people who are actually going to be sat in front of the apps, right? And you'll ask the question of, oh, well, that's interesting. Why like that? Yeah. It's like, well, it's always been that way. That's the way we do it. And you're right. You become ingrained into how things are, and you don't really you lose that ability to question it. And sit. So I think that's a great tip. And your last quick fire question: what is the most unexpected thing that's happened that's helped a project succeed?
Oh, very little scope change. As I said, we were always prepared for scope change, but when it doesn't happen a great deal, it's a very pleasant surprise. As we're set up for it, but I said it is very nice when there is very little change on the project, and you're building what you thought you were building at the start. Always positive.
Nice. All right, that was cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time running through everything there. I think
my pleasure.
In summary, we ran through. So obviously we talked about ops and what ops contributes to building the right products. We talked about the importance of having the right people in the team, the right attitudes. We talked about empowering those people as well, so that they're involved in the improvement and enhancement as well. We talked about some of the fun and games and challenges in an agency environment, pace and value delivery, combined with everyone being a little bit different. It all was changing. We talked about Jira. We talked about Jira, and then we talked about Jira. And then we talked about the importance of prioritization and alignment towards business objectives and company goals to guide your decision making throughout. Did I miss anything out of that?
No,
Not too
quite a comprehensive summary.
Not too bad.
Very good.
Wicked. Well, thank you very much. Thoroughly appreciate it. I think you're coming back in a couple of months to do another
I
one.
believe I am, yeah.
So for now, au revoir.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to see you on the other side of the office in 2 minutes, but thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks a lot.